On a cold winter night in 1916, Felix Yusupov dumped the dead body of a holy man into a river. The man had already survived 4 murder attempts, and he survived with no injuries. The man in question, who was he, and how did Nicholas II's reliance on this mystic and the controversy surrounding their relationship undermine the Tsar's credibility, fueling public resentment and playing a role in the events leading to the Romanovs' death? As a result of the First Russian Revolution, Russia's balance of power shifted drastically. As rioting and mutiny escalated, the people turned their backs on the Tsar, and sooner or later, they turned against him. In addition, there was a plot against the government. Vladimir Lenin, or the leader of the Bolsheviks, planned to overthrow the Tsar. This is where Rasputin comes into play. In Siberia's cold, remote mountains, Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin was born to a peasant family on January 22, 1869. However, he converted to Russian Orthodoxy in the 1890s. In the course of his travels, Rasputin was admired by commoners. According to some, he had healing abilities, the ability to predict the future, and mystical gifts. However, Rasputin's lust for women, heavy drinking, and petty theft gave him a bad reputation. Rasputin was a controversial figure, with peasants loving him and nobles hating him. Since he was a commoner like them, he allowed the voices of peasants to reach the royal family, allowing them to be heard. Nobles hated him because nothing could be passed through the state since Rasputin was the advisor of state. So, they spread rumors that Rasputin had sexual affairs with the royal family, committed religious heresy, and influenced their every move. Rasputin used his connections to become acquainted with the royal family when he reached the Russian capital, St. Petersburg. His first meeting with the Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra occurred in November 1905. Since they both believed in supernatural powers and the Orthodox Church extensively, he had them transfixed. Rasputin became a favorite of the Tsarina, and although it hasn't been confirmed, rumors suggest she had an affair with him. In her later words, she said Nicholas was obliged to keep him at the royal court because they needed him. However, Nicholas's attitude towards Rasputin changed. Rasputin soon gave him the confidence he needed to run the country. After he gained power in the government, Rasputin influenced the Tsar's decisions by offering governmental advice. But Alexei, the heir to the throne, would soon die because he had hemophilia. After Alexei experienced a medical emergency in 1912, Rasputin told the royal family to stop giving him his medicine. Soon, Alexei got better, and this made the royal family more fond of Rasputin and guaranteed his place on the royal court. Just after the incident, Rasputin made a prophecy. If he died, or if he were deserted by the royal family would all die. And he soon would die. One noble stood out, Felix Yusupov. Felix Yusupov believed that Rasputin was a bad omen for the royal family. Under his beliefs, Rasputin's influence over Alexandra threatened the Russian Empire by weakening her control. According to Yusupov's memoir, we know that his anger was fueled even more when Rasputin refused to accept Yusupov's ideas that were passed through the state. Rasputin refused these ideas because he was the advisor of the state. Yusupov plotted Rasputin's demise, luring him to the palace under the disguise of a party. Unbeknownst to Rasputin, Yusupov served pastries laced with cyanide, yet they had little effect. Unaware that the cyanide had been switched, Yusupov then offered Rasputin wine with cyanide, but the mystic remained unharmed. Fearing his failure, Yusupov resorted to shooting Rasputin 3 times in the back, only to discover him alive upon his return. Rasputin retaliated with a punch, escaping briefly before Yusupov and his accomplices pursued him. Eventually, Yusupov shot Rasputin in the forehead and disposed of the body in the Malanevka River. Reports suggested Rasputin's body thrashed in the water, while the autopsy claimed hypothermia as the cause of death. The full truth remains uncertain. The reaction to Rasputin's death was mixed. While some welcomed his removal, believing it would strengthen the monarchy, others were indifferent or sympathetic to Rasputin. The peasantry in particular may not have had a unified reaction. Most of the peasants were enraged because a peasant like them got into such a high power. But jealousy corrupted people, and they took that title and life away from Rasputin. With each passing second, Russia's situation deteriorated. A second revolution has been set into motion. It didn't take long for riots to break out, and by the end, nearly everyone was dead. It was then that Nicholas realized that he would have to abdicate, and he did so. As a result, government officials killed the Romanovs, killing the last of the Tsars.
Господи, прости их, не ведают, что творят.
It turned out that Rasputin's prophecy had come true. In the event he died, or was deserted by the royal family, they would all suffer the same fate as he would. Following the death of the Romanov dynasty, Russia's political factions fell like dominoes. As a first step, they formed a party called the Provisional Government, which was intended to organize elections for the Russian Constituent Assembly. In addition, Lenin and the Bolsheviks saw an opportunity in Russia, so they traveled back home and began planning their revolution. As a result of the absence of a leader, Russia was unable to focus on World War I. Many groups saw Rasputin as a symbol of corruption and darkness, so once Russia fell, they knew that Rasputin fell with it as well. Ultimately, Rasputin's death caused the Russian Revolution and the downfall of the Russian royal family because the peasantry were enraged that jealousy took away the high status in life of a holy man. His influence spread throughout the world and into media today. As an example, he appeared in the 1997 Disney film Anastasia and the 1996 movie Rasputin. Furthermore, you probably know the song Rasputin by Boney M. Well, when Boney M wrote the song in 1979, they based it off of Rasputin and his life. In the end, Rasputin will remain an enigmatic figure whose true intentions will remain a mystery.